Good day and welcome back to a session with Almas. My name is Rahma Mustapha Goni and I'm here today in the studio with our special guest who is Mr. Folajaiye Kareem. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we've been talking about assertiveness training where we spoke about passiveness and aggressiveness. And today, in the last and final episode, we'll be talking about assertiveness, which is what everyone is looking forward to. So, Mr. Fola, as we've talked about passiveness and aggressiveness, I'm very sure that they are related to assertiveness. So what is the meaning of assertiveness? What does it mean for a person to be assertive?
Okay. In our previous posts, you would discover I talked about how passiveness and aggressiveness are a direct opposite of each other. And it's almost like a seesaw.
Okay.
Assertiveness is in the middle of being aggressive or passive. So if this is a continuum, here being aggressive and here being passive, the middle point or the midpoint is assertiveness. So assertiveness is being able to communicate, your needs, your emotions, and your feelings or your thoughts clearly and calmly, in a manner that is honest and sincere, without impinging on the rights or violating the rights of others.
Okay. So can you tell us about the characteristics of assertive person and how do you balance being assertive verbally and in actions? Can you give us some examples?
Okay. So just like how we can have communication styles, verbal and non-verbal communication styles in being assertive, aggressive and passive. For assertiveness also, people can communicate their needs or their thoughts in ways that will help them, communicate or pass whatever they want to in a way that will respect the needs or the desires or the esteem of the other person. For instance, you can say things like, I feel this way about what you have said, and because you have said it this way, I also need to let you know how I feel.
How is your expression going to be? Like maybe your facial
Yes,
expression?
the way I'm saying it now, I'm trying to explain what I am feeling,
Okay.
rather than blurring it out or trying to, avoid talking about it.
Okay.
I'm trying to make you explain it so that you can see it from my own point of view and then empathize with me.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So that's what makes that difference. It is unique in the sense that you are not, one of the characteristics of being aggressive is that the person can stare you in the face,
Okay.
right? But being passive, maybe the person is looking down. But for assertiveness, the person is maintaining eye contact but is not staring.
Okay.
It's a huge difference.
All right.
Yeah.
So sometimes some people could be maybe passive for a long time or for the whole life that they've been living, and then maybe suddenly they switch to be aggressive, just like a passive aggressive, roller coaster kind of a thing. So what do you think causes that kind of situation?
There are so many things that can cause it. One, I would say, is our cultural disposition. So there are aspects of our culture that promote passive or aggressive behavior. And when we begin to grow, because it's a learned attribute, when we begin to grow, we pick up from these cultural innuendos and we begin to act in such a way. And sometimes, because of how these things have affected us, we discover that our needs have not been met in the way, and then we switch.
You become angry.
Yes, we can switch. Maybe you have tried to be assertive at some point and people don't just get it, and maybe you just discover that you tried to be aggressive at one point and it worked for you.
Okay.
You will keep on wanting to do that because it's giving you results.
Because you want to express yourself.
Exactly.
And you don't know the right way to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. So, again, when you are being passive, those people who are not passive as you are would like to take advantage of that. They would, harm you. They would use you to get what they want, But when you decide to be assertive and you realize that, this is the right thing for you to do, now these people become angry because you know your rights now and you can speak up. So what can you say about that?
Yeah, I'd like to give an example concerning that. I was about to close a contract recently, and when we sat on the table, we talked about what my own share would be in it and what the share of the company I was going to close the contract with, would be. And we talked about it. When I went home, it didn't sit well with me. I felt a bit cheated. I felt that it was quite unfair, And because I thought about it, I had to find a way to go and assert myself, and let them understand that with the way this contract is being set, I still do not feel that it's favoring both parties. When I went there, I let them understand that while I appreciate that they have brought me to the table, I still do not feel comfortable about what is going on. And because of that, because I was able to appreciate them and then express myself, it made them listen to me. And by the time we sat on the table again, we were able to create a deal that was fair for I and the party.
That reminds me of something. Like, someone said something to me and I became assertive and, I spoke in a way that they were not expecting. And the person was like, but, you've been kind and you've been this way, you've been humble and all that. But what happened to you now? They thought being humble or something like that, or it's going to be maybe passive, or like now I'm becoming assertive. So what's happening to me? So do you know the answer I gave them?
Okay.
I said, I grew up.
Awesome.
So yes, I've become aware of my rights and the fact that I need to speak up. So, coming back to our social life, family, friends, relationships, marriage, and all that, let's take, for example, a woman. Whenever she finds her voice and she talks, she speaks out, and she knows her rights, people will now start saying it's feminism. So I would like you to explain how people are supposed to differentiate between assertiveness and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe even cultural stuff.
Yes, you see, the trend today is such that we notice that a lot of women are beginning to speak about, speak for themselves, stand up for their rights. That's because a lot of women have been taking a lot of things, for too long. And, now that they see them, people begin to look at it and say, this person is a feminist, this person is standing too much for her rights. But the truth, in reality, the truth is that people are just trying to stand up and, to be counted, or stand up to allow their needs to also be met, and which I think is fair. But you see, the difference between that, because a lot of people also take it in the wrong perspective, which is why we have a lot of toxic feminism around as well. People take it to the extreme. That's why we have to, in fact, in life generally, things are so much better when we try to strike a balance in whatever we do. So when people are trying to, stand up for their rights, they should also do that by not impeding on the rights of other people. Yeah.
So now, adding an Islamic view on this is the fact that, assertiveness looks like taking the right decision. Okay? So it is also mentioned in the Quran that you should take good decision and put your trust in Allah. So the beauty here is that Islam takes steps, and it's just like a cycle. Like, talking about passiveness, it says you should exercise active patience. Talking about aggressiveness, it says you shouldn't be harsh, you should be lenient. And then talking about assertiveness, it says you should take good decisions and then put your trust in your Lord. So thank you very much for listening from our psychologist. And Mr. Fala, do you have anything to add?
Well, I'd just like to add that being active, being assertive is a journey, because it's been a long time coming. The communication styles that we adopt, since they are learned behaviors, a lot of people have grown up, to become to communicate the way they are now. And if you have found yourself to be maybe aggressive in your communication or passive, and you have found it difficult to be able to maintain an assertive stance to things, then you might just consider, I would suggest that you consider therapy. What we have discussed is something that we do in therapy for between 5 to 10 sessions, just to be able to clearly teach you how to communicate assertively. And yes, I would suggest that you seek professional help when you know you don't have what it takes to, attain assertiveness on your own.
All right, so thank you for watching. So do not forget to subscribe and then go back to our previous episodes so that you can connect all the things that we've discussed on assertiveness training. Now our information is going to appear on the screen, so do not forget to contact us for anything, questions, topics. Just feel free to talk to us. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.